Live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello everyone, this is Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. Thank you very much for joining us. We are live streaming here out of the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom. This is something we do every weekday starting at 1 p.m. We go throughout the afternoon, we cover a wide range of topics. And while I'm here in studio right now, we do actually get out of the studio every now and then. And that's what this segment is going to be about, is our trip out to Reed College in Southeast Portland. In case you didn't know, Reed College has a nuclear research reactor on its campus. It's part of one of its programs, and actually students run the reactor. So this is something that maybe a lot of people didn't know, but it's been around since 1968. And this reactor is there to help train, to help educate, to help students learn all about different aspects of that kind of technology. And we were thankful to be invited out there to actually get to tour the facility. We get to see the reactor. We get to find out about the history of it and just what a unique thing this is to have here in this region as an asset for these students and for the community as a whole, because they also use this for research projects that affect everybody in the region. So we spoke to reactor director Jerry Newhouse and a number of the different students and different people who are in charge there running these programs. Really great opportunity to go out there and see them. So here we go.
The reactor was founded by a chemistry professor named Arthur F. Scott. Construction started in the mid-60s and was completed in 1968. So the reactor first went critical. It first operated in July of 1968. Arthur Scott, to me, was a really interesting person in that he founded this reactor near the end of his career. He was born in 1898. Wow. And so in his lifetime, he went from a time when electricity wasn't widespread, cars weren't widespread, the airplane hadn't been invented yet. And at the end of his career, he was building a nuclear reactor. I think his life really demonstrates how quickly this technology developed in the early 1900s. The main thing that our facility focuses on is training students to be operators at the reactor. This reactor type is called a TRIGA reactor, and the T in TRIGA stands for training. So we actually are among the largest trainers of student operators in the country. There's a class that starts in the fall, so it's just started a couple of weeks ago. It's called Chemistry 10 Reactor Seminar. And students enroll in this class who have interest in either working with or learning more about the reactor. This semester, we have about 70 students enrolled in this class. It was about a quarter of the incoming class registered for this course. And they learn all about how the reactor operates, what it's used for, the science behind it. And from that group, we'll select 15 of them to continue on to get their operators' licenses. Something that gets overlooked a lot at universities is just how brilliant and capable undergraduates are. And the fact that if you give someone a challenge, more than likely they're going to rise to meet it. So it gives our students a great opportunity to show what they're capable of while also learning a lot and getting a lot of great experience.
If you could translate some of the experiments that you're doing here into maybe like a real world for people who aren't working on a nuclear reactor, like translate some of those experiments into something that people would recognize in the real world, what would they be?
Yeah, so something that we've done recently that I'm really proud of, because it's really easy to think of, oh yeah, nuclear reactor, they're using that for this nuclear science that I could never understand.
Right.
Something that's really applicable here in the Portland area is if anyone's ever looked outside, they've probably seen moss or lichens or ferns growing or things like that. We've had some researchers take samples of different mosses and lichens, and we can put those through a process with the reactor to tell how much heavy metals are inside of them.
Wow.
So we can tell how much pollutants from the air, from the ground that these plants have soaked up, and basically can measure what's going on with pollution in the area through this process.
That's all going through this reactor, through the nuclear chemistry that you're doing here?
Yes, that's right.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would imagine that that's working with a lot of different organizations then to then give them that info that you discover through that?
Yeah, so it's a relatively new process that we haven't done too much of yet, and that's part of why I'm excited about it as well, is it's something that we're sort of spearheading here, and really looking forward to seeing what we can deliver to the community with this sort of information. I think it's really important that these sorts of facilities are part of the community and giving something that's actually tangible and useful to the people living around us. And this is an example of one way that we could do that.
You know, you hear nuclear, sometimes people get scared of that, you know, the dangers of that. How safe is the reactor?
It's very safe. A couple of ways that I can describe that is that this reactor is about 10,000 times less powerful than a power plant reactor. If we were looking at like the physical size of our reactor, it's about the size of a washing machine. It doesn't get hot enough to melt. There's not enough nuclear material in it to explode like a bomb. It's just not possible.
It's not like The Simpsons, then, is what you're saying?
No, absolutely
Okay.
not.
All right.
Usually what I tell people is that, I mean, first of all, our reactor is quite literally designed to be operated by high school students. Like, we are not dangerous. Our core is 25 feet underwater. Like, there are a lot of safety precautions, and we know a lot more about the physics behind it. To really protect ourselves and everyone else around us.
And I noticed you've got some interesting rings here.
Yes.
So tell us about those.
This is our dosimetry. So we have ring dosimetry and badge dosimetry. They basically have crystals inside of them, and whenever the radiation hits the crystal, it will excite the electrons, and then we send them in to, I'm honestly not really sure where they get measured, but we send them somewhere else. And they're able to identify shallow dose or extremity dose or like whole body dose based off of if it's shown in our rings and our badge or just our rings. And so yeah, this is kind of how we can ensure that we're not irradiating ourselves over a long period of time.
Yeah.
I can confirm we aren't.
Is this something that the general public could come in for a tour of, or?
Yeah, so we have on our website, we have a tour form, and we usually kind of mostly do educational groups or work groups or things like that, but anyone can submit a tour request, and then we'll be in touch. And it's something that we're really passionate about, that kind of science education and outreach.
I was going to say, why do you think it is so important to have that public outreach aspect?
I think that the nuclear industry and nuclear science in general can be a very opaque and kind of scary field. And it's also such a fascinating field, and a field with such potential to help people, I think, and to help society, whether that's through energy production or through the kind of various types of research and projects that we do here, there's lots of other research reactors that do things like produce medical isotopes for cancer treatment. And I think that education is so important to kind of demystify the various kind of assumptions that people have about nuclear and about how safe it is and about what it can be used for. It's kind of like read as a whole college on a smaller scale, like people from all different majors, all different backgrounds, all coming to do work at the facility. And so you get to see people become passionate about different things and follow those passions and tell you about those passions, which is super cool. And it's also, everyone is really kind of committed to the facility and to each other and to creating a really supportive and welcoming work environment, which I feel like does not unfortunately exist everywhere. And it's a really kind of special group and a special space that we have here.
Well, what's your favorite part about coming in here every day?
It's pretty neat to like feel like you have such a control over what the reactor's doing, even though practically what it is you're pressing 6 buttons, up, down, and up, down for our 3 control rods. It's cool to be able to like push the button, see the power increase, and then turn it off again. Eventually it gets routine like driving a car, but at the beginning you're 16 years old and you just got your license and you're like, oh my God, I can move this vehicle. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, except you're running a nuclear reactor. That's a little, I drove a Datsun. Like, this is a little bit different than that. So doing this, you know, what is it that you really love about it? Like, what drew you to this kind of a program to begin with?
It's a really unique experience. You can't really get anything like this at any other school. That's mostly what sort of drew me to it, was that, like, I'll never be able to do this again. But what sort of kept me is that everyone here is really nice and everyone really likes to work with each other. We're all very collaborative, which is really important because we're running a nuclear reactor. We're doing maintenance, we're doing cleaning, we're doing a lot of tasks that would otherwise be really boring. But the fact that everyone sort of works together and helps things get done sort of quickly and just like in an enjoyable way, that's really important.
So that was really cool to get to go out there. And thank you to everybody for having us out to get to see something like that. I mean, again, that's a nuclear research reactor right there in Southeast Portland. Very safe as they go through in that, as they talk about it. But for all those different research projects and for so many decades being there as that resource, pretty cool to get to see it, I gotta say. And huge thank you to Ann Armstrong for shooting that as well and editing it. Great job on that. And thank you to everybody for joining us too. So as I mentioned, we can leave the studio sometimes as well. So feel free to send us an email, fox12now@kptv.com. Maybe you know something in the area or something that maybe doesn't get highlighted that much. That would be a good feature point, something we do a longer form segment on or an interview about. Feel free to send us an email, fox12now@kptv.com. We can see if we can set something like that up. And yeah, we're here every weekday starting at 1 p.m. going throughout the afternoon, covering a wide range of topics. When we're live, that means we can also cover breaking news on here, but we've got all of our segments you can check out on the Fox 12 Oregon app. So whatever platform you're on, we have a Fox 12 Oregon app on there, particularly too. I want to remind you, if you're on Fire TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, download that Fox 12 Oregon app. You can watch all of these segments on there as well. But that's it for right now. Thank you to everybody at Reed College, and thanks for watching us.